Hey everybody, we're looking at my black ghost knife fish tank, and if you'll notice off to the right there's a new inhabitant. I've got my male angelfish in here that was originally in my 29 miscellaneous. This morning I started breaking down my 20 long open top, and I moved the two angelfish that were in there into the 29 miscellaneous, and at first everything seemed okay, but within an hour or two this fish that we're looking at here got really aggressive with the other two, which is what I was afraid of. I kind of thought all along that was going to happen. So I gave it a little while, but he just drove the two new angelfish down into the corners, and I mean they were literally like sort of lying on their side underneath the rocks on the bottom trying to hide, and that's not normal behavior for an angelfish. I've seen them do it before, but only under extreme circumstances when they're really being harassed and stressed. So that was not something that was going to be able to continue. So as much as I was reluctant to try it because of, you can see all of the Tiger Barbs I've got in this tank, and putting Tiger Barbs and angelfish together is not a good idea. It's not recommended. The Tiger Barbs can be very nippy, and if you've got long-finned, slow-moving fish, i.e. angelfish, it's probably like the number one fish that you probably should keep away from a tank full of Tiger Barbs. But I thought, you know what, let's give it a try, let's see what happens. If nothing else, then just putting this angelfish here through a little bit of a disruption, you know, maybe getting it out of its familiar habitat. I feel a little bad. It's been in that tank for about 3.5 years now, and suddenly it got disrupted by having these other fish stuck in there with it. And then I go in and, you know, all he was doing is defending his home. And here I go sticking my hand in there and collecting him out and throwing him in this tank. And at first everything looked fine, but it didn't take long for those Tiger Barbs to take notice of him. And they've sort of backed off a little bit. I just watched a little bit of drama going on. They were approaching him, and it looked like they were sort of experimenting with taking nips at him. And he was fighting them off and chasing them off, and you can see he's still just drifting around on high alert. He's got his fins up, he's kind of cocked at the side a little bit. He's definitely keeping his eye on these Tiger Barbs right here because he knows they are a threat. So it's probably not going to be tenable to keep him in here just for the stress factor, just the fact that he knows he's in a tank with predatory fish. He's going to be on alert all the time. And that's just not good for a fish to be on high alert like that all the time. It's, you know, to be in a tank that's got a little bit of stress is one thing. He is a cichlid. They are used to dealing with that. But not to the degree I think he's going to go through. So we're going to give it a little while longer. I'm going to watch and be patient. This has only been maybe an hour that he's been in there. Probably not even that long, honestly. Probably about 40 minutes. Maybe. I didn't really look at the time, but it hasn't been that long. So we're going to see what happens. If nothing else, I just think he looks beautiful in this tank. I've honestly wanted to see him in this tank for a long time. I just knew with those Tiger Barbs in there, it wasn't really going to be a good idea. But they're just so stately, and with all the vegetation for him to drift around in, you know, through in this tank, and then his colorations, this whole tank is sort of geared around the earth tones, and then him with his browns and golds would look just beautiful in this tank. So it's a shame it's probably not going to work out, but I am going to say it's really probably not going to work out. And I can see my black ghost knife fish sticking his little nose out, probably wondering what's going on. I did throw a few shrimp pellets in there just to bring the cherry barbs out, or the Tiger Barbs out, and get them feeding on something. I thought maybe that would sort of distract them from the angelfish, and it did for a few minutes, but now they've sort of gathered around, and you can tell they're not really swimming around the tank. They're just sort of swimming around in a little group right near the angelfish. It's almost like they're sort of, you know, feeling him out, waiting to see how he's going to behave, waiting to see if they get any opportunities or openings, and if they do, they're going to dart in. You know, he keeps moving in on them like he's checking them out, so who knows. If he doesn't show any signs of damage, if he doesn't have any fins that are getting nipped or anything like that, I might let it ride and see how it goes. But it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday now, so let's just give it some time and we'll see when my next update is, how long we give this. But I'm thinking that maybe by the end of the day this isn't going to be you know, going on anymore. We're going to have to get him out of there and moved. So if I do that, I guess I'm going to have to go back to my original plan, which was to put the two smaller. See, as soon as he turns his back on him, look at those cherry bar or those tiger barbs just following him right over there. See, he's not going to be able to turn his back on those fish, or they're just going to nip the hell out of him. So there you go, anybody. If you ever wondered about, you hear everybody say don't mix the barbs with these long fin, slow moving fish. There's a little bit of evidence as to why. So again, I'm going to keep a really close eye, make sure nothing goes wrong. But again, I'm already looking at, I'm kind of convincing myself as I'm watching my own video that I'm shooting, this is not going to be something that can last more than a few more hours at the most. So probably going to be back to having to put my two smaller angelfish, the ones that I just put in my 29 miscellaneous. Here we can go over and have a look at that. These two just went in here this morning, and they've already come back out of hiding, and they look really good in here. There's the one on the right you can see, and then this one's sort of facing the camera. They're difficult to see when they're pointing at you. But they both look really good in here. The only thing I'm hoping that keeping the angelfish in the situation he's in now, keeping him over here in this tank, if that kind of just disrupts his sense of I'm the boss. I've taken him out of his tank. I've taken him out of being the absolute dominant fish in there. Amongst the aggression that I saw when he was attacking the other fish, the angelfish, he was also going after the glowfish, the tetras that are in the tank. He was just chasing everybody. He was just really, really showing his dominance and really showing his aggression. So now that he's in a situation where he's kind of being victimized a little bit and he's out of his home territory, and maybe when he goes back into the new tank, the new tank being his old 29 miscellaneous that he just came out of, it will seem like a new tank, and it'll sort of be a readjusting of the pecking order and all that. Of course, he's much, much larger and more aggressive than the other two that I just put in the tank. So all in all, he would again become the dominant fish in the tank. But would he be so aggressive that he would keep them hiding under rocks? I don't know. So we're going to give him a few hours in here and see what happens. And as long as he's not getting any damage occurring, I think we're going to let this one ride for a little while and just see how it goes. I really like the way he looks in there. I really wish I could keep this set up like this. I think he looks just fantastic. And then, of course, the other two that we just looked at have even longer, more flowy fins. So if he doesn't work out in here, I know the other two wouldn't. So that's not an option. It'll be back to putting the other two in the tank upstairs. So go ahead and subscribe. That way you won't miss any of the drama I've got going on now. I'm in the process of getting some other tanks moved around, and I'm trying to get a new tank brought in and set up. So a lot of stuff going on right now, and if you're subscribed, you won't miss any of it. So thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more to come, and I will see you real soon on the next one.